Welcome, everyone. My name is Tess Miller. I'm a personal coach. I help professionals who love what they do, but they're not sure where it's going. And I have a seminar and coaching business called Wings Unfolded. Welcome to my weekly live video. I talk about various topics, hopefully to help you navigate your life more fully, more happily, and feel more fulfilled. So today's topic is how to stop pressing the snooze button in your life. And that may be the literal snooze button, and it might be a different kind of snooze button. We all have those things in our lives that we say, I really want to do that. I intend to make this change in my life, and then for some reason it just doesn't happen. So let me tell you about the other morning. I was, sleeping happily, peacefully. It was warm, and then the alarm went off. And for the past several mornings this winter, I've been getting in the habit of turning my alarm off, letting the snooze go, and then I have to go through that process all over again of waking up and feeling groggy and gross. And I decided the other morning, maybe I don't want to do that. Maybe instead of pressing the snooze button, I'll actually get up and get on with my day. So I did. I, reminded myself of the plans that I'd made the night before about what I wanted to do in the morning. I reminded myself that really anytime I'm pressing the snooze button, it doesn't really make me feel any better. It does for a tiny, tiny moment when I get to roll over and go back to sleep, but ultimately it really doesn't make me feel any better. I regret not having that extra time to do a few extra things around the house. And also it's just like the time in the morning that I get to read. It's quiet. It's just nice and slow. It's a great way to get the day going for me. And so I reminded myself of all of that. And then I managed to have the thought, maybe it's not that I don't have to get out of bed. Maybe it's that I get to get out of bed this morning. And so that kind of, got me going. Once I was out of my bed, I decided to stay present with my experience of the situation. I wanted to see, how long does it take for me to start feeling better in the morning? Is it after a cup of coffee? Is it 20 minutes? Is it an hour? And I realized it was really only 2 minutes that I felt really awful in the morning, just really groggy and grainy, and 2 minutes, maybe less than that. And then once that 2 minutes was up, I felt more alert and ready to go. So really I thought, wow, I've been pressing the snooze button just so that I didn't have to go through that 2 minutes, but I do end up still having to go through that 2 minutes. I'm just avoiding it. And it occurred to me that there are lots of other times in our lives when we press a so-called snooze button. For example, if we say, I want to get more exercise, and then for whatever reasons we don't, we get too busy or, whatever. Or I want to start eating healthier foods. I want to put more healthy foods in my diet. Or I want to be more kind to myself. I notice that I don't say very nice things to myself. I want to meditate more. I want to take up a hobby, all kinds of things that we usually say, by the way, around the beginning of the year, which is coming up. Or maybe it's that you want to quit a habit that really isn't serving you. It's really not making your life better. And, when we make these declarations of, I want to, we're in a way setting an intention, but there's one thing that we're not always good about doing, and that's making the intention to follow through with making that change in our life. So that's what I want to talk about today. I want to give you an exercise that you can use to help you intentionally make that change in your life. So we come to a moment when we know that we've declared, I want to fill in the blank, break this habit, eat better, exercise more, whatever it is. We come to that moment and we realize there's the choice to either continue doing what we've always done, or we could choose the healthier option, the option that we said we wanted. And in that moment, if you're anything like me, your mind can get really creative with the excuses. So for example, some of the ways my mind is creative when I'm trying to make a change is that it'll say, this isn't really the best time for me to exercise. I'm just not feeling up to it. Or I really want to eat this candy right now. And I should, because tomorrow is really the day I really meant to start, not having so much sugar in my diet. Or I should be more kind to myself, but this one thing that I did, if I let myself off the hook for this, then I'm really letting myself go. Or I don't have time. I just don't have time for this. I don't have time to meditate right now. Tomorrow. I bet I'll have time tomorrow. Pretty soon the days go by and we still haven't started making that change that we said we wanted to make. And this is the equivalent of hitting the snooze button. So out of curiosity, what are the things in your life right now that you say you want to do, but you aren't? You keep hitting the snooze button. How long have you been doing that? What excuses have you been allowing to believe or tell yourself instead of making this change? So I have an exercise for you to investigate this a little bit more deeply. And you can use this the next time you notice yourself making excuses for why this isn't the right time to make a change in your life, or why you just can't make a change in your life. So what I want you to do is, after you're done watching this video, go grab a piece of paper, because you're going to be doing a writing exercise and you need to allow yourself the time to flesh out your ideas and your emotions and your thoughts. Don't worry, I will post all of these writing prompts in the comments below or in the video description. So you'll be able to come back and take a look at that and do the writing exercise on your own time. So the first thing that you're going to write down, number one, is what's the change or the new habit you would like to adopt in your life? Number two, what are the reasons you're choosing to keep doing what you've always done? In other words, what gets in the way of you making the change or adopting the new habit? For example, it's you might think it's easier not to, or you have too much on your plate today, or you don't have enough time, or you're just too tired. So write down any of those reasons you keep engaging with this habit that isn't necessarily good for you. Number three, spend some time thinking about what the real reason is that you're not making this change or adopting this new habit that's healthy for you. What I mean by that is, underneath the reasons and the excuses we give ourselves is the real reason. And a lot of it has to do with fear. It might be that you're afraid if you try to make this change, you're not going to succeed. You're just going to fail. Maybe you've tried before and it didn't work. Or maybe you're afraid of how it's going to change you. Will you recognize yourself? Will other people recognize you? What will other people think of you if you make this change in your life? Will they support you? Or will you not be supported? And that's understandable to have that fear if you may not be supported in that. Another reason, real reason underlying all of it that you're not making the change in your life is that maybe you're afraid that you won't keep up with it, and then you'll just end up feeling like more of a failure. And that's a really awful feeling to feel. It's understandable that that fear is there. Number 4, how does it feel when you avoid making the change or incorporating this new habit? If you're anything like me, it doesn't feel good. Not only are you engaging in the old pattern of being, but you're also feeling bad that you're not choosing the thing that's healthier for you. Number 5, what thoughts come to you when you choose to do what you've always done? When you're not exercising or not meditating or not eating healthy or being mean to yourself. What are the thoughts when you engage in that old pattern of being? What comes to you? Number 6, what thoughts would you rather be thinking? If, for example, the thoughts that come to you when you're not making the change, if the thought is, oh, I'm such a loser, what would you rather be thinking? Maybe you'd rather be thinking, I can do this, or I'm making a change that is really healthy for me, or I'm proud of myself for making this change, or I feel good now that I'm engaging in this habit, whatever it is. Or maybe you want to be thinking, I have more energy because I'm making this change in my life. Number 7, what feelings do you think you would have if you were thinking those new thoughts? Maybe you would feel more energized. You wouldn't just be thinking that you were energized. You would feel more energized. You might feel really good about yourself. You might feel more engaged with your life. You might feel more connected to yourself because you're finally taking care of yourself. Number 8, how does it feel different in your body to imagine yourself thinking these new thoughts and feeling these new feelings? Notice the shift that happens. Even though you haven't made the change yet, notice what it feels like to be in the energetic vibration of that change. Number 9, what are some of the statements you could say to yourself that would remind you of this feeling in the moment? In that moment that you're, I could choose this new thing, but maybe I'm going to stay with what I've always done. Instead, maybe you could have a mantra or a statement that you say to yourself that gets you back on track with what you want to choose. A statement might be something like, I get to make this change. That was something that I've decided I say to myself in the morning. I get to get out of bed this morning. Another statement might be, I love taking care of myself. Or, I'm getting better every day. Or, this is my personal favorite too, done is better than good. And this one's pretty powerful, right? Especially for those of us who are perfectionists. Perfection is a great thing, don't get me wrong. And at the same time, it can hold us back. Because for those of us who we have to get it just right in order to move on. Well, then maybe we never move on because we're human and humans we're not perfect. Maybe another statement could be, I am important enough to make this change. Or maybe I'm demonstrating to myself how much I matter. And finally, I am worth it. So you can think of your own statement, but be sure that your statement is somewhat neutral. It's not necessarily forcing positivity on you, but it's also not putting pressure on you. For example, if I'm feeling really bad about not having made this change sooner in my life, it really isn't going to help me to say something like, come on, don't wimp out this time. That's not really the best statement. But also, you're the best person in the world is probably not going to really get me to stop hitting the snooze button either. Honor the fact that you've had reasons in the past that prevented you from making this change. These are mental, physical, emotional reasons. They're valid reasons. They were trying to protect a version of yourself that wasn't ready to grow yet, but now you are. And you have to honor that your personal development is a process. It's not going to happen all in one night. It's got to be one step, followed by another step, followed by another. And finally, you want to show yourself the kind of compassion that you would want to show your friends and family, but also the kind of compassion you'd want to receive from your friends and family. Why not do that for yourself too? So once you have your statement or statements that you can say to yourself to remind you of the feeling that you want to have when you're engaging in this change in your life, write it down super big for yourself and post it someplace where you're going to see it. I know this part sounds super cheesy and I didn't want to do it either. I really didn't. But I did anyway. I wrote a statement for myself and put it on my bathroom mirror where I knew I was going to have to stare at it day after day, several times a day. So that's just an idea of a place. You can put it someplace else, maybe by your computer, on your computer. I don't know if you're leaving your house much these days, but if you leave your house, maybe put it by the door that you walk out of. Making any kind of change to our personal routine or our way of being is super challenging because all kinds of fears arise, all kinds of feelings arise for us. It's uncomfortable, any kind of change, even if it's healthy, even if we know that it's going to make us feel good in the long run. It's just going to be challenging. It's going to feel hard at first. But once you get in the habit, it'll be a lot easier. They say to give any change in your life 30 days. Once you get past that 30-day mark, it becomes a routine. It becomes a habit, and you don't have to think about it so much. I hope you find this exercise helpful. Again, the writing prompts that I gave in the writing exercise are going to be below in the comments or in the video description, so you can check that out. I'd love to hear from you all about your experience with this exercise. Please comment, share it with any other people you think might benefit from trying this out. If you know somebody who hits the snooze button a lot in their life, they might really appreciate having this resource. And to find more resources from me, you can visit The Nest on my website, www.tess-miller.com. And you can also connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and on YouTube. Again, my name is Tess Miller, and I help professionals who love what they do, but they're not sure where it's going. Thanks again for watching today, and I'll see you next week. Take care. Bye.